Hey, how's it going? This is Venger as Satanis. My old channel has just been closed for business. I'm no longer using it, so I started a new one. And then that one Google didn't like, and now there's a new one. So anyway, this is a start to the new one. As well as Cult of Cthulhu material, I'm also going to talk about D&D Next, or the 5th edition. I'm very excited about what I've read and what I've heard. Not only the playtest material that I've downloaded myself, but the interpretation and the reception of that material by people on YouTube and different forums, just everywhere on the internet. And I think this is going to be a bold new step towards a better D&D. I loved the original Dungeons and Dragons and the advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and 3rd edition and 3.5. Played 4th edition, two brief campaigns. I tried it. At first, I liked it because I thought, oh, this is cool and new. There's some new steps, and with miniatures and terrain and battlefields, combat can be more involved, and one giant combat can literally take you like 4 hours to resolve. I thought, oh, this is cool. But then, towards the end, role playing just got left behind, and a whole bunch of stuff just kind of fell by the wayside. And I realized that this is not the D&D that I fell in love with years ago, and that I wanted to continue with and spend, 4 or 5 hours once a week playing beyond time spent, preparing the adventure or the encounters. So yeah, I just kind of realized that 4th edition was not for me, and I haven't really played D&D since then, since 2008 or early 2009. But now I'm excited to get back into it with D&D Next. Like I said, I've seen some cool stuff, read some cool things. I like the advantage and disadvantage. I think more rolling is preferable to more math. Adding the +2 for this and the -2 for that, and +1 because of this, and 3 different +2 modifiers for the cleric and -2 for the mage and all that stuff. I'd rather have a couple more rolls, and that can lead to some exciting stuff. Either way, for the good and the bad. The baby's sleeping, and if you hear grunt or snort or whatever, that's what that noise is. Anyway, some things that I'm just going to mention. Other people can join in the conversation, or maybe someone from Wizards of the Coast will look at this and be like, oh yeah, this guy has some good ideas, or people want feedback of the people that are making the game. So here's some of my thoughts. Some good, maybe some will turn out to be crappy, but here they are in no particular order. The words that people use create a resonance, and they influence the game a lot more than people think. There's a subtext, and that influence is a lot of times subconscious. For instance, like different roles like tank and striker and things like that, or power surges or healing surges, that has a completely different connotation and flavor, and it influences how the game is conceived on a different level than other iterations of the game. For instance, I would suggest, instead of calling the player characters PCs or player characters, call them adventurers. Just that one word change right there brings a whole different dimension, a whole different flavor or style of play, or potentially it does, than using a term like player characters. Player character could be anything. You could be using a board game or a computer game or something like that. But adventurer, it's only an idea, but a person, and it's it enters the imagination in a different way. And since this 5th edition is all about role-playing and storytelling, I hope, that's what it seems like, I think that's something to be mindful of. Eventually, I think it'd be cool to have characters higher than 20th level. Getting back to the old school Dungeons & Dragons feel, I've also been influenced by things like Hackmaster. I think they do some cool stuff. A lot of it's, played for laughs, but a lot of it, there's a resonance there. There's a feel and a style there that might have been captured in the olden days of D&D. And now, kind of with 3rd edition and 4th edition, it's kind of been lost a little bit. So, maybe get some of that back. Speaking of Hackmaster, I like their use of honor a lot. I think there could be more in there with, there's backgrounds now, and we're back to the old style alignment, which I think is great. But there's things like honor and maybe destiny and ambition, which can be touched on. There's a very cool mechanic in the Amber diceless role-playing game. It was good stuff and bad stuff. Good stuff was, it could give you positive aspects or good luck to your character, good karma. You kind of was treated like a good guy, and you got some benefits for that. And bad stuff, if it was even 50-50, something bad would happen, or something dark or strange or unexpected. But then your character also had not only a little bit of bad luck, but there was something more to him. He certainly had more ambition. And I don't know if you ever watched the TV show Entourage, but the main character, his name escapes me right now, the actor guy, but he kind of goes through life, with a smile on his face and, a good feeling or in his heart. He's kind of a good guy, and things always, in the end, seem to work out for him, even if he has setbacks and obstacles along the way. But he also doesn't have a lot of, this dark pathos yearning. He's not twisted inside with things like, unbridled lust or vengeance, or things like that would make him a little more, I don't know, epic or Shakespearean or something like that. So that's just something to play around with. That's always something I liked in the Amber Diceless role-playing game, the good stuff and bad stuff. So that's definitely something right there. Okay, hang on a sec. Okay, back. Speaking of old school and darkness, and grittiness, that's the kind of old school D&D feel I like. Something was mentioned on the Wizards website about artwork. Describe or send in like a piece of artwork that kind of defines Dungeons & Dragons to you. And for me, it would probably be like the artwork and maybe on the cover of the magenta box of D&D. Just because that really captures the flavor of the Dungeons & Dragons that I love, that I feel most acquainted with, and that I most want to play. I also like the red box artwork. I think that's pretty cool. The old school stuff, I remember I used to have a lot of Dragonlance calendars when I was really young. Those kind of dragons. But I also like the Hackmaster art, the more old school, cheesy, kind of nostalgic artwork. And that, that's the kind of things that I see in my head sometimes when I'm playing the game, where I'm thinking of what's cool about D&D, or what's the essence of Dungeons & Dragons. So anyway, that kind of feel. I wrote something down. Let me read it. Okay, where adventurers would have to make a pact with a demon or something like that in order to gain entrance into a dark elf citadel. And I also like science fiction elements occasionally sprinkled in. for instance, if that citadel was actually part of an ancient starship or something like that. That's cool to me. That's that's the Dungeons & Dragons that I like. Not so much paladins and princesses and King Arthur's court and things like that, but more of a dark, seedier side. More like old school Conan the Barbarian. With serpent people and sorcerers and dealings with dark gods and demons and devils and crazy shit like that. So yeah, definitely more storytelling and role playing, incorporating that into the rules somehow. More I like what has been done already, but I think more could be added. More rewards she's really going on for embellishing different things. Hang on.